we have the current stock market update for SOFI Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker SOFI. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts below in the comments section so that other traders can find this information more easily on the platform. So what we're looking at here is the hourly time frame. We can sort of see, using this time frame, we can sort of see sort of near-term resistance zones that are starting to develop here. We can see that the stock is having a bit of trouble moving into this 1049 area once again. We can see that there are red candles that are starting to develop here. So, not surprising at all. This is a price zone that we've been watching for quite a while now. I mean, even before this trend wave had broken to these highs, we were looking at that 1049 area because this was a prior area of resistance that had been seen on these longer term timeframes. So, the fact that we're once again sort of running into this zone and having some difficulties here, really not surprising at all for people that just sort of take a minute to look at the price charts. A lot of these levels can be easily identified. People that come up with these random projections and things like that, I think that they would be much better served if they simply put in a little bit of work here and just actually looked at the price history, because this was an area that we have been watching now for quite some time. This essentially was the sort of range high that developed toward the end of 2023, end of December 2023. And, we are running into this area again at the moment. So this will be the sort of the level to watch to the top side. I do think that if we break above here, I think that you're probably looking at a retest of 1120 rather than the $45 number that I keep coming across from other people. I think that that's really your sort of near-term target here, because what we're dealing with at the moment is a stock that it does continue to underperform the market. I mean, even when we're looking at these recent movements higher, I have seen a lot of comments that suggest sort of a lot of bravado and confidence, even though the stock trade is, really underperforming the S&P by a fairly wide margin. And that's even if we're sort of looking at the most generous possible price zone here. So we are trading at some near-term highs at the moment. There is some possibility that we could see a rollover here because, this 1049 area is proving to be quite difficult. Overall, the fact that we have sort of posted these higher lows right around 963, I do think that sort of opens the scope here for a break of this region. But then I think from there, I think that people need to calm down a bit with the projections because I think that you're going to start to see some gains that start to stall out at that point. We are looking at a lot of upside activity here in a relatively short period of time. So at some point, these conditions do need to sort of work themselves out and roll over a bit here. But what we can see in the indicator reading at the moment is still mostly a positive trend momentum trajectory. We have seen this trend line broken two separate times, but I think the upward price movement has been forceful enough for me to believe that these were false breakouts to the downside. So I would suggest that there is still positive momentum that is underlying the stock. And when we combine this with the fact that we are forming some higher lows here as well, I do think that the balance of the evidence here does suggest that we finally do break through that 1049 area at some point here soon. We're sort of knocking on the door hard enough. I think that eventually that door is going to have to open. So that does sort of put 1120 back into the back as the target to the top side. But I do think it's important to also look at potential levels in the other direction because this is what would sort of give us a signal that perhaps this upward trend has now run its course. So specifically, I would be looking at this 9063 area. That is that old sort of a price low that came in during the October 17 trading session. We did see that break below the 23.6% Fibonacci level, which does suggest a bit here that there is some weakness that is developing in this trend. But I do think that I would need to see share prices move a bit lower in order to really reverse the bias and to start to look for at least a period of sideways consolidation or perhaps more of a bit of a downward pullback. So for me, that line in the sand does come in at $9.40. This area does mark the top of that prior price gap that formed for this stock. So we can sort of see that here. I can sort of move in a bit here. We can see that there is still a price gap here. This would have developed during the October 14 trading session. So that's now a week ago. Presumably, some of the orders that would have been placed here have now automatically expired, but I wouldn't expect that to be all of those orders. So if we did see share prices sort of move below that 940 area, you would lose this area of historical support. You would lose the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement zone. And then more than likely, you would also be losing this 100-hour exponential moving average, which is this purple line here. Of course, it's not quite there yet. It hasn't quite reached this territory. But if we did see share prices start to decline here a bit, I would then expect that 100-hour EMA to sort of come into contact with this area right around that same time. So if we did see a break below 940, to me, that would really be the critical sort of move to the downside. And then, at the very least, you would have to have more of a sideways outlook at that point. And then I would turn more to outright bearish if we did see share prices break below 870. The reason that I point to this area is that it's the 200-hour exponential moving average, as well as the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement of this same trending move here. So there are a couple of signals that are sort of combining themselves in the same area. And this does typically tend to be what I look for whenever I'm looking for important support levels to either hold or to break to the downside. So, just to summarize here, I do think that the momentum is still focused in the positive direction. And you do have this higher low at 963 that is starting to look a bit encouraging, even though it did break below that 23.6% Fibonacci retracement zone. I think we're putting enough pressure on 1049 to see it break. But I also think that people need to, take these other projections with a grain of salt a bit here. We have seen a lot of upside price movement in a very short period of time. So, a lot of these upward projections, into the $40 and things like that. I mean, I do think that these people need to come back to reality a bit because for me, the next upside target would be $11.20. So here's the current market update for SOFI Technologies, stock ticker SOFI. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market, lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.